question. What kind of computer sings the best? Adele. Welcome everybody. Today's video will be going over Ultimaker Cura, slicing for the first time. If you have no experience at all, this will be perfect for you. Without further ado, let's jump in. So starting right away, to download Cura, you just go to the website, type in Ultimaker Cura. So you can see right here, it's downloaded for free. It's free to use, and this is the software we'll be using. So go ahead and download it, and I'll see you guys in the program. Okay, so now that you have the software, let's go ahead and add the printer you would like. So up here in the top left, you can see the option, the drop down to add a printer. I usually use a non-networked printer. Now I'm going to use the Creality Ender 3 Pro. I have a video which I'll link here if you want to see how to assemble it. Creality Ender 3 Pro. Select it. We can name it wherever we'd like. Let's go ahead and click add. Most of these settings are 95% complete. You can look through it if you'd like. I just keep going, hit next, and then bam, that's it. Your new printer bed is right here. This is the build volume. And you can see now it's dropped down right here. I have two other adding a part. Now there's a couple ways to add a part. You can add a OBJ file, you can add a STL file. There's a couple different websites that you can use. I already have some pulled up here. There's thingiverse.com, cults3d.com, and GrabCAD. I recommend all three of these. Most of them are free for the most part. I'll have all the links in the description. We're going to print the Benchy, all rights reserved to whoever made this, Creative Tools. This is what we'll use to practice with. We went ahead and downloaded, and you can see all the STL files here. Let's go ahead and download an STL file. Perfect. Now, all we need to do is just drop this right in. Get that out of the way. Perfect. That's it. As you see up here, there's three options. There's prepare, preview, monitor. Prepare and preview are the ones that are mainly going to be used. Over here in the left menu are options. So let's select the Benchy here. You can see we have the option to move it wherever we'd like on the build plate. We can also scale it. So let's say we want it at 200%. You can see it's a lot bigger. Let's drop back down to 100. We can rotate it. This is very useful. You always want to print with the least amount of overhangs. So you can see you have XYZ rotational. It tells you the angle snaps at 15 degrees. That can be changed in the settings, but let's not worry about that. Other three down here, I wouldn't worry too much about either. Looking at the print settings and not going into detail, here's the profile. So you have 0.12, 0.16, 0.2, 0.28. These are default with the printer we put up. So I have the Creality Ender 3 Pro. 0.12 is the finest, so it's going to take the longest, but the highest detail. 0.28 is very coarse, rapid prototyping, not much detail. And then the infill, so 0% is there's no infill, which is the material that's inside. 100% is it's full, as you can see here. Generally 20% is more than enough. If you want it to be sturdy, I'd recommend maybe 40 or 50, but over 50, it's kind of like an exponential graph. It just levels off, so there's no need for it. And then there's also gradual infill, which will start around 20, and then as you get closer to the top, it'll hit more like 90, as you can see here. Support generation is if you have an overhang. 3D printers can't print over air. That's impossible. You have support that goes along with it, and then finishes up the top. If you check this, it'll generate support. If you uncheck it, it doesn't. Adhesion, there's brim and raft. Think of like a brim as a couple lines around the part to hold it. So if you have a long skinny part, it's perfect. A raft is exactly how it sounds. It is a raft that the part will be on top. Let's say we want a low quality 20% infill part. What's next? We make sure our material is correct. It's just general PLA 0.4mm nozzle. You can find all that information on the printer's website. Bottom right down here is slice. Let's click it. It's going to slice. It's going to take a second. And right now it's literally slicing the part into different layers for us. So preview, or you can go to preview up here. Either way works just fine. Now, what's going on here? Let's start at this bottom. This shows the layer and what's happening in that layer. Far right, this shows the different layers. We can see we have 400 layers. So for example, let's go to the 30th layer and let's see what's happening. So I'm going to zoom in here, spin it around, zoom in a little more, spin around. Now, as you can see, there is no support, no adhesion, and this is the path that the printer takes. It goes around. And you can see how we're able to edit that all right here. Now, let's say this is ready to print. It's as simple as save to disk, or when you plug in an SD card, it says save to removable drive. Creality has a removable drive, so I just save right to that, and you load it in your printer and print. So let's go over a couple more settings. So let's go back to prepare. Now let's say we want it to be very coarse and we want a gradual infill. No support, no adhesion. So let's slice it. Same thing as before, slice down in the bottom right. Let's preview it. Now, very coarse, but the infill gets higher as you go up. So as you can see, there's only 171 layers now. Just drop it down to right here. As you can see, it starts out very kind of thin, and the further you go up, the tighter it gets to it. It's almost near 100% here, probably like 90, 80. And it's just a much more coarser print, a lot more material being laid down at once, which means you won't have a lot of the finer details. So like in the back here, you won't have this detail most likely. So let's look at the support real quick, and then I believe that should be it. And then you should be able to start on your own. So support, let's slice with support. Just a quick remark, all the red is overhang. Red is overhang. This is going to look very ugly. This part is not made for supports, but this is what it would look like. You can see it kind of, as it goes up, it prints along with it, and all the way to the top. And when this is done, theoretically, you're supposed to just pull the supports out. I don't personally like supports. A lot of the custom settings in here you can mess around with. I can go over that in a later video if that is easier. But finally, once you're done, go ahead and save and load in the printer and print. I hope this was helpful. Please subscribe to the channel. If you did find it particularly helpful, leave a comment. Any questions you have, just please let me know. Thank you.